I have received a letter. It's dated the 10th of April 2016, and it says, "Dear John, last year we had great fun watching the potato growing contest between you and Buzz up in Oregon. Without a doubt, Buzz won the contest, but also without a doubt, we feel that you were at a complete competitive disadvantage throughout. No matter the endeavor to achieve total victory, it's important for one to know as much as possible about the adversary. So for this year's potato growing rematch, we've decided to pitch in and level the playing field, or potato fields, so to speak. It is our sincere hope that the following pages and enclosed photographs will provide you with the needed insight to defeat Buzz and be crowned the new Potato King of 2016. Well, there was a whole bunch of photographs. I scanned them into my computer, and there's a bunch of stuff they wrote here. So I'm just basically going to paraphrase much of what they wrote, so it's not going to be a really long video. Otherwise, we'd be here forever. Basically, they said that poor old Buzz had a terrible time right after he was born. His parents and many of his relatives kept trying to throw him away. It was a sad situation. I just can't even imagine something like that. But anyway, he kept coming back, and eventually they accepted him into the family. And it wasn't until his senior year that he had a real psychological setback. On prom night, when everyone else, well, not everyone, but when many of his friends were getting lucky, poor old Buzz, he just zeroed out. What more can I say? And out of high school, he kind of milled around for a while, according to what it says here. And he did take a job the following December as a Santa Claus in a department store. And he was doing pretty good there until the management noticed that he had this peculiar habit of requesting certain things from the customers. They fired him. Well, he went from there and he decided to do a little bear wrestling up in Northern California. And that didn't last very long, and he decided, I did pretty good at bear wrestling, maybe I can work in a zoo. So he went to work in a zoo, and they said, well, you wrestled bears, we'll just make you the elephant trainer. Well, that didn't pan out very well either. So from there, he said, look, I've got to get out of the United States for a while. This is driving me crazy. Ever since birth, it's been one big negative issue after another. And so he wound up in Brazil. He took a flight to Brazil with the money he had saved, and he went to work at an all-female health spa down there as a naked bungee jumper. His job was to jump off a platform naked. But, the ladies got together, wrote a letter to the management, and said that they were unimpressed. Ouch. Well, from there he decided to come back to the States. It was such a defeat, such a letdown at the spa. He came back to the United States and he wound up going to work, and he went to school, learned computers, and went to work as a computer operator. And that too didn't do very well. And it was for some insurance firm up in Washington State, I believe. And they told me that last year he showed everyone this big old bucket of spuds that he had grown 69 pounds, and I just had a few, and mine were real nice looking, and his looked pretty good, but they claim in the letter that those were not the actual potatoes he grew. His potatoes didn't look anywhere near what mine looked like. In fact, they put a certain odor throughout the entire neighborhood, and the neighbors began to complain and talk to one another about it. Well, his poor old wife, Mrs. Buzz, she's the one that suffered the most, I guess. He wanted her to fry some up, so she did her best to take care of his, his desire, what he wanted, Anyway, old Buzz, he's crowned the winner, and me see what it says here. I got to get it straight now. Oh yeah, he sent some to one of his uncles too. It says here he sent some to one of his. Let me see. Yeah, he sent some of his potatoes to one of his uncles. Didn't turn out so good. Jeez. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do, maybe I should go ahead and buy a crown already this year. Start wearing it right now. You know, because this whole thing is beginning to turn into my favor already. I can see, you know, a major wind coming in my direction. You know, even certain people that know him are supporting me this year. That's amazing. And what really distresses me, and Mac is very upset. Little Mac, my dog, is very upset, and my little poodle, because after old Buzz got done with his potato harvest, he sent little old Mac packing. He said, "You go back to Arkansas." Boy, old Mac never forgot that. By the way, here's what the real potatoes look like that Buzz grew last year. Anyway, the letter goes on, says a few other things. You know, I don't need to make this video much longer than it is. But, you know, the letter was signed Mr. and Mrs. Pickle and Sickle Dickle.